the course of the last 3 years, we've been able to build a product that there's nothing else like it in the industry worldwide.
You guys are the key to our entire project right now. This is the first time where we have more contracts than we could possibly even put out machines.
In our space, we get to be definitively different. You can't compare us to our competitors, and that would not be possible without this program.
Every one of the technical challenges that we had, TSL was able to overcome.
No one wants to be living in data files and Excel files all day long, so now our team gets to focus on the really strategic initiatives that they're very, very good at.
Instead of going there, flying up there, doing a service ticket, like connecting, reprogramming, now all of this you can do from your fingertips sitting right here from an iPad.
Some of those processes before, when your team had already some level of automation, took them still 90 minutes. That's now done in minutes, seconds.
Working with TSL has been nothing less than stellar. They're great communicators, do a great job, make suggestions, deliver.
Really do appreciate the time and effort and commitment that the devs have made.
It's great to work with people who have the same values and beliefs and ambitions.
Anytime somebody wants to choose a supplier, they should look at reputation, they should look at integrity, and they should look at quality. And TSL has proven to me that you achieve those three attributes.
Having a team that could be there for the longevity is really key.
They really knew and understood our business and asked a lot of questions to get to the root of what we were trying to solve. It actually came out better than we thought because of those questions that they asked.
An excellent experience.
It's been just insane.
It honestly exceeded our expectations in every way.
You can either clip or you can magnet. What would you like?
You can clip.
Clip right here?
Yeah. It doesn't look like it could clip, but
Good job.
there you go. Am I on?
Anytime somebody wants to choose a supplier,
I will
they should look at reputation,
call
they should
you
look
up
at
in
integrity, they
just
should look
1
at
second.
Okay.
I'll do the kickoff. I'll poll the audience, so I'll get you a little bit of data points.
Yeah.
And then I'll introduce you.
Let me go run to the restroom.
Okay.
Or,
What do you use?
excellent experience.
oops, sorry.
Mute her.
That was good.
How much time do we have?
Oh, it's done. It's just replaying now.
Working with TSL has been nothing less than stellar. They're great communicators, do a great job.
Good?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll have everybody come on down. Ladies and gentlemen, thank each and every one of you guys for being here at AI Uncorked, presented by the SilverLogic for our June edition. We are really excited to have each and every one of you guys here. I always start with a quick show of hands. Who is a returning attendee for AI Uncorked? Awesome. And who is a newcomer? Yeah, thank you. Big round of applause. Thank you, each and every one of you guys, to our newcomers for being here and making AI Uncorked what it is. For the last 3 years, we have been hosting AI Uncorked on a monthly basis right here in this office. And thank you guys for continuing to make it a place for tech enthusiasts, business professionals, lifelong learners, and anyone else in between to be here and learn about AI. We are really, really excited to welcome to today's presentation a very distinguished speaker. She has many fascinating takes on AI, and she's going to make one of the most interactive presentations we've ever had while sharing her perspective on a really, really hot topic, which is the collision of AI and humans. Probably the single most hotly debated, feared, and everything in between discussion around the adoption of this incredibly powerful technology. As she goes around, I'm going to try and capture as much audio as possible. I will walk around with a mic, and you guys can pass it around because we've got an amazing audience live joining us on YouTube and LinkedIn. Everybody say hi, YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
And so it is my distinct pleasure to thank and welcome Stephanie to the stage, and I'll let her introduce herself with a big round of applause.
Thank you for coming, and hopefully I'll make this an engaging experience. So first thing you'll notice that there's no slides. I don't like presenting the slides because I don't want to presuppose I know what you want to hear. I mean, Evan might say, I'm coming for one thing, and then I go through my entire slides, and Evan's like, this is a waste of my time. She didn't say anything I wanted to care about. So, Evan, why are you here today?
I'm interested in learning more about what your topics are and learning more about what the industry is doing.
Okay, great. So he wants me to talk about anything except dinosaurs.
You can talk about dinosaurs.
I can only filibuster about dinosaurs for about 15 minutes, and then I have nothing else. So I'm Stephanie Sylvestre. I'm originally from Belize, and I want to thank my fellow Belizean that has come up to support me. So this is great. Always great to have members of your fan club in the audience. I also want to shout out all the women that have braved and came. We need to get a little bit more diversity. Not making you wrong, but just... So everybody on YouTube and Zoom, they're wonderful, incredible men in the room, wonderful to speak with. So we need a little bit more women, a little more diversity. This is how I run my AI as well. This is not about AI, it's about diversity. It's about amplifying and optimizing people. So it's not about, like, let's see how AI can replace you. So we're not going to be talking about how AI is going to replace you. So if that's one of the things you wanted to learn about today, I am not your speaker. In fact, we are quadrupling down on the importance of AI and people connecting. So much so that we now have a new slogan. Our first slogan used to be, everyone needs a buddy. We still have that slogan. But we also have, eliminate bottlenecks, not people. Because we want to be clear that you can use AI in a way that will eliminate bottlenecks, will help your company excel, but grow with the people. So I'm going to start with this. Most of us that are hiring managers or managers know that on a good day, we get about 60–70% capacity of our employees. I know when I used to be a Scrum Master and I would calculate resources, they're like, don't put more than 60% capacity, because otherwise your cycle is going to blow up. So what if we could rethink how we look at our employees? And what if we can take that 60–70% to 90%, right? Just 90%. And you're like, Stephanie, how can you do that? Well, one of the reasons why we're at 60–70% capacity is because everybody that has a job has multiple tasks assigned to it. And who likes every single task that their job has? Raise your hand if you like every single task that you have to do for your job. One person, right? So what happens is we have to do a job, we have to do tasks that does not bring us joy. And when we have to do stuff that does not bring us joy, what do? We procrastinate, we walk around, we go talk to somebody else. We might even go like,
So it's over with.
say it again?
So we do that first, so it's over with.
You're like the special person. What's your name? What's your name? Paul. Okay, good.
Always go first.
Yes. That's what my mom used to try and convince me that I should do.
Eat the frog.
Eat the frog, yeah. Embrace the suck. Yes, all of that. I still procrastinate. So that's why we don't get to 90%, 100% capacity, because we're spending all this time. So what if we could take AI and have the AI do the parts of your job that does not bring you joy? What does that look like now? Oh, this is like an interactive thing. I was hoping somebody would say something. Paul?
Going on vacation.
You look like you're having, it looks like you get here on time, you meet new friends.
I have a comment about that.
Yes.
I thought that, and I tried going down that path, and I found that AI is expensive. The rote stuff was not worth it.
AI is expensive. Yes. The way the tech bros have been pushing AI is expensive. I don't think that AI needs to be expensive. I started using AI in 2021. We became a developer for AI. And back then, we were still building the tool. We didn't have any customers yet. And my monthly AI bill was $500. I just got my AI bill from OpenAI today, which we have about 30 customers. We don't really count number of users because we don't think that that's the way to process AI. My bill was $130. It's usually $129.01. I don't know why it got to $130, but whatever. Yes, sir.
So I will tell you that, yes, it is expensive now, but not leveraging it and not taking advantage of it, the lost productivity that you're losing is even more expensive. And not taking advantage of it going forward and embracing it now is going to cost you even more in the long run if you don't embrace it.
True. Absolutely. So I hope that by the end of this conversation, you leave thinking, yeah, like this is not scary, this is not bad. So let's go back to the job. So you got your job, you have your task. We've identified the task that does not bring us joy. We've looked at it and we said, we can have AI help us with this. So now AI is helping us with this. So now you're really happy because the AI is doing all the hard work. So I'll give you an example, right? So I don't like to just talk in you. So I have a CFO. I'm a startup, so I can't hire, I couldn't pay her. Let's just say, like if I had to pay her. She's a University of Chicago MBA back when like maybe 5 women were allowed to be in the MBA program. That's how smart she is. So obviously I can't afford her. But I've worked out the deal, and I say 10 hours a month for you to make sure that we're on point. So 10 hours a month is not a lot of time for a CFO. But what we did was we sat down with her and we said, tell me how you analyze financial documents. And we created a fiscal buddy. We call her AI agents buddy because it just seems a little bit more. So we coded fiscal buddy. And I said, it's like this? It's like, yeah. And so now she uses fiscal buddy to run all the analysis of the P&L, the balance sheet, the cash flow, and then it spits out a report, and then she goes through, because it writes like how she wants to write. She goes through, and she does a little bit of editing. So instead of burning through about 5 or 6 hours of that 10 hours I have with her, it takes her about 2 hours. So I got another 8 hours with her. So now we can talk about all these things, and now we're at a point where if I cannot show how an activity will lead to some kind of revenue, we cannot do it. So we have time to do that kind of real serious conversations in our business because we're not futzing around. She's not drained because she had to pull all the reports and go through line by line and all that. And then, unbeknownst to me, like, because I mean, like, I'm just configuring her AI 8 for her. So she closed April, then I added some more expenses to April, so now she closed May, and she's like, did you do something with April numbers? Because April is off now. She was able to catch that because the AI is comparing. And so that's like a simple case, but just want to have you think, right? Like, what if you went back to your company and think about like all the processes? And Mauricio and I were talking about earlier, or is it Mauricio? Yeah, maybe not Mauricio. Maybe it was Sanjay. Was talking about a customer came to me and said, we have an email problem. Can you create an AI that will read my emails and automate my emails and all that? And I'm like, I mean, not to sound too elitist, but that's kind of like a really pedestrian use of my talent. Like, I mean, like, if you can't read your own emails, come on. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but really, I'm being a little judgmental. You can't read your own emails? And so we said, okay, let's understand this email problem, because my 30+ years of working with technology, usually when somebody says they have a problem, what they identify as a problem is a symptom. It's not really the actual problem. So I go and I ask them about their processes, and we're flowing out the process on the whiteboard, right? There's like, and I'm asking them about different things, and I was like, I don't think you have an email problem. I think you have a process problem. And let me tell you the 3 places that you have an issue. And everybody was like, the staff members were like, yeah, like this. So problem number 1 is that they sell a product that's uber complicated, that has like about 35 data points that you have to keep track of. So we're not going to keep track of 35 data points. Nobody's doing that. And then sometimes if you select data point number 5, then your number 10 is required. But if you select something data point number 8, number 10 is not required. Lots of stuff. So what they were doing was they'd get an order in, and somebody would look at it, and they would like say, oh, these things are missing. Then they'll send it back. And then they'd come back and they'd be like, oh, these other things are missing. Then we'll send it back. So back and forth. And then now nobody wants to be like the person that messed up the order. So there are like all these CYA emails going around. So you're like 15, 20 emails for this one order to get it right. So it's like, let's sit down with the person that knows all the parameters, or almost all. So that was like a little it was iterative. Like, we didn't just sit there one and done, right? We sat down, we got some of it, then we started running the orders through, and then like, oh, forgot. Then we fixed the AI again, and then we ran some orders until we got about 90%. I don't think that, we're not at 100% yet. It's going to take us about 8 months to get at 100%. But what it's done is it's reduced the number of emails that they're getting. Because when the order comes in, you run the order through the AI. The AI looks at the order and says, here are all the things that are missing, and here are the questions that we need clarification on. And you send one email back to the customer. Customer looks and answers it, and then sends it back. So you might have 2, 3 emails, and now you can move along. So that's an example of how you go about. So then the next data point that we had was pricing. So again, there was like these nuances, like if the pricing is less than 6 months, you don't go back and ask the vendor for a price. But if the price is more than 6 months, you have to ask the vendor. But then if we haven't bought anything from a vendor for more than 9 months, then we need to give them the job, even if they're a little bit more price. And then we need to know like when they can deliver, because if they're going to deliver too early, that we don't want to use that vendor because we have to worry about inventory space in the warehouse, and then we also need to understand the terms and where we are with our bank. I mean, it's just lots and lots of stuff, right? And all of that information sits in like 5 or 6 different systems. So again, right, we said, and so then they were like, oh, we're going to have to pull the data out of all of these systems. And of course, now all the IT people are like, whoa.
Not just pull, also post.
Huh?
You were doing commitments on orders.
Yeah.
You get 3 orders for the same thing. There's 2 of them.
Yeah.
3 emails flying, and somebody's going to get hacked.
Yeah, exactly. So, but also like you have to pull your data from you have to pull the inventory information, you have to pull the finance information, you have to pull the pricing information, you have to pull the order history information to make all of that work, right? So what we found out is the first thing that we want to do, and I started doing this as well, was like, let's just connect up to all of these data sources and pull them in. No. Because first of all, it's a non-starter. Like, that's a 4-year project if nobody sleeps. So we said, just give the AI the reports the humans use. So the humans have the reports. So just give the AI the reports the humans are using, and you give, bless you, and then you give the AI, the AI is well configured to do all of those analysis, spits out and decides which vendor should get quotes. When you get quotes from the vendors, which vendors you should get quotes from. And then when you get the quotes, which one you should select. So now you have to send it to the CEO. So the CEO knows all of this in his head, and he can just look at an order and be like, boop, boop, boop. Nope, here, send it back. But the CEO is traveling, and he's getting more deals. And so, like, you've spent your entire week working on your order, and then the CEO, Thursday night, he's sitting at the airport. I don't know. He decides he's looking at your thing, and then he blows up your order. So you're now thinking you're having like an easy Friday, and you're planning, and you come in on Friday morning, and you're like, what? And now you have to get out because it's been a week, and now like you don't want to look like you're not being responsive and all that stuff. And so we have not done this yet, but what we're trying to convince the CEO is to create a digital twin of himself. So digital twin is like the next level of AI agent. And so what we want to do is we want to take his personality and digitize his personality. So you hear, and lots of people talk about digital twins. We're going to go scrape this and we're going to scrape that. And I don't think that that's the right way to create a digital twin. I'm being a little judgmental here. Try to watch my judgmentalness, because some people might say that's the way. But we hired somebody that has a PhD in personality questionnaires, and they created a personality questionnaire for us that when we give it to you to fill out, the AI can, well, first we had a therapist that was entered in the questionnaire. We were doing it manually. Then after a while, we got what we're doing, and then we built an AI agent that builds the AI agent. And we collaborated, and now we can digitize you in about 2 hours. And so we want to create a digital twin of him, and we want to capture him. Like, people are like, well, we'll just put how I do stuff. And I'm like, no. Your personality and your life history determines how you behave. So the AI has to have all of that to know and predict to some level of accuracy that when it looks at something, it can respond your way. So I know, like, you see ChatGPT says, yeah, I can mimic you and all that. And they can to an extent, but they really can't, like, look at something that you have no concept of and extrapolate it to you. And that's where, like, we're going, is the concept of how do you take a digital twin, create a digital twin of this CEO, put all of the information, the way he processes life, into the AI. So then, when I finish doing my work, I run it through my AI, his AI. I see what problems I'm going to have. I fix those problems so that Thursday night when he's looking at my report, he doesn't blow up my Friday. Okay, I'm going to pause there for some questions. Yes, sir.
How do you do that without giving it the previous feedback that you have gotten from your boss?
Because what we're doing is we're creating the personality is configured into the AI agent. And then we're taking their life history and we're putting it into the data vault.
But why is the personality relevant? Like what we started with here. What we started with here was, they have an order and the founder is just the product configurator, right? That's going to price it, have the margins right.
No.
So why does their personality, their charm, and their delivery, how did that become the problem we were solving?
There's 3 problems that we were just solving. Problem 1 was the order wasn't coming in with all the particular details. Problem 2 was trying to figure out how to price the order was complex. And problem number 3 is the CEO has to sign off on what decision you made. And if you don't know, if the AI doesn't think the way the CEO thinks, you will get kicked back.
But the thinking you're triggering there is tied to the 2 analytical events, not their delivery, right?
Yeah.
In fact, from a control perspective, you wouldn't want it to sound like them if it was fake them. You want it to be clear that it's fake CEO.
Well,
right?
They know that it's not the CEO. The point is that you capture the CEO's personality and persona, and you run anything that you would give the CEO to sign off of. You run it through the CEO's digital twin, so you can get a feedback before make any adjustments. So when you give it to the actual CEO, there's less likeliness that it's going to get kicked back.
But don't you still need to train it to, I forgot who it was, this question, of what they are going to respond to the new data point?
No, we don't have to train it. Okay. We're not training. We're creating the CEO in a digital format. You need his or her personality because so that the personality drives how the AI behaves. Otherwise, you will not. You would, to his point, you would need to have all of these previous things in there, and then he would do a circular, whatever you call that, and then you might not get the accurate information. So, yes.
Yeah. Hi, Stephen. Hello.
It's good on. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, my name is Han. I have a follow-up question on that. So the digital twin was created by your company, requested by the CEO, because you have to have the data history of himself, his personality. That means he have to take all of the tests with review by the PhD or therapist. Yeah. So that is the asset of your client company or yourself.
No, it's not my asset. It's they own it.
Okay.
We don't own. I like to say we're the Tupperware. We're the Tupperware container. You can put whatever on in it, but we're the Tupperware. Tupperware doesn't own what you put in the Tupperware.
Mm-hmm. But how that would help you to curate your proposal to the CEO, because the thing that you just mentioned, why it's blow up all of the workflow, it's just because all of his staff maybe only know up to 90% of all of the workflows. Am I correct or not?
I think it's a little bit of not to not get too much into the company, but the idea is he's the CEO. He built the company, so he knows the nuance down to the minutia. I'm an employee. I know most of the nuance. I've been here for 15 years. I get most of it, but I don't know every little thing because I'm not him, and so I don't think like him. So you create his personality, and now thinks like him. So I'll give you another example to just kind of do a comparison. So one of our investors, we created a digital twin of him. He runs an incubator, and he said, I don't have time for you. I don't have time and space in my incubator for you. So I said, can I create a digital twin of you? So I created a digital twin of him, And when I have questions that I would ask him, if I was in his incubator, I asked the digital twin. And for the first few months, like I would ask his twin, then I would send it off to him and say, what do you think about this? So then we collaborated. So just recently, we wanted to update our marketing. We wanted to go from making AI work for the real world to eliminate bottlenecks, not people. And I wanted the AI to do eliminate bottlenecks, not people, but keep all of our other taglines: simple, safe, simple, fast, human digital handshake, and everyone needs a buddy. So I gave his twin, I said, hey, by the way, this is a new campaign, but we need to maintain all of this. Write me the new strategy. So it took me about 2 hours talking to his twin to get that completed. And then I had to take another 6 hours to edit it. Then when I finished editing it, I sent it to him and I said, what do you think of this? And he's sent back and he's like, this is brilliant. Of course he thinks it's brilliant because his digital twin wrote it. But that's how the digital twin works. And it's because we have his personality and we have all of his data points and we have some of his life history in there. I think there was a question back there, and then we can come here and then here.
Yeah, so I appreciate what you're saying. I think it's remarkable, and then the tactics and the specifics and how you're going about things. But for me, as a CFO in an organization, my question is, how can I get the organization really believing and empowering and believing it? Because the tactics you're talking about and the details, to me, are things that are probably months or years ahead of me, because I got to bring people to the table that trust it, rely on it, and think about it differently. And what you're talking about is very different from where I'm coming from, because I can't tell you how many people are fearful. They don't understand it. They are resistant of it. And how do you get that belief in across the organization and drive that leadership to make people feel comfortable that, hey, this is what I need? And for me and what you're talking about, to me, that's just a thought partner. Yeah, okay. You're pushing some ideas to someone and bouncing it off of someone. It's a thought partner. There's people in the world that have been doing this on their own because they can, quite frankly, manipulate things. They can read people. They understand how they can twist things to make people feel the way. But how is it that AI is really going to be beneficial, and how do I convince my organization that this is the way to go? Because at the end of the day, I agree, AI is the future, and it's going to increase productivity. In a time that we're in right now with labor shortages, it's critical. And the resources we have are limited, and we have to take advantage of this as much as possible. That, to me, is critical and what I need to understand.
Okay, so I think that's a valid thing, and I think that was Chuck and I were talking about that earlier. So first of all, it's not about telling people you need to use AI. You have to process AI as a social construct. It will change and is changing how we view the world, how we behave, how we interact with each other. So when you do something like that, that's not AI, it's org readiness. Is your organization already ready? So we have a process. And when we started, we would do this after we closed the deal, and then it was just like a mess. And then I said, no, this is not working for me. You're messing up my numbers because I have to fire you as a customer. So I brought all of that to the front. So the first thing I do is I have a conversation with you, and I say, Sai, you think we have a connection? Do you feel me? No? Yes? Yes? Okay, so we got a connection. Hey, I want to come work at your company. Who else on your team works with this AI solution? Who works with this business process that we're going to solve with AI? You have a team. Okay, so next meeting, I need to bring your team. So in the meeting, what we do is we say, we create a safe space. And we talk about what problems you have. We're not talking about AI. I did this, and the CEO kept saying, well, when are we going to talk about AI? I was like, we are talking about AI. He said, but you haven't said anything about AI. I was like, I've been talking about AI this entire time. So we come and we say, what problems are you having? What are the issues? And then we get people. And so you get people at different levels of the organization in that meeting. We talk about, we get agreement. And we maybe have 1 or 2 problems. We're not solving 15. Even if we have 15 problems, we're solving 1 or 2. So we take those 1 or 2 and we make sure that we have an agreement that that is the problem. Then we do co-dreaming, or let's think about, like, what does the world look like when this problem goes away? I mean, it's just change management. The problem with AI is if you don't do change management, it will blow up on you. Other software, we used to jam it in and we didn't do proper change management and we kind of like got away with it. So people are like, oh, we can just jam AI in, no change management, and we'll be good to go. Ha, no, that is not going to work. So then when we get an agreement of what utopia looks like, then we sit down and we say to the subject matter experts, let's design the solution. And then you roll out AI the way you onboard people. So you do not buy AI for everybody and say, everybody use AI today, go. It's going to be a mess. You say, we have 2 problems we're going to fix. These people are going to start with AI. We're going to push it out. We're going to figure out what the problem is. And then we're going to do that until we get to 4. And then once we see the response, we're going to come back around. And maybe the next time around, we might push out 6. And then we come back around. Just like, I mean, like if you had a company and you're a fast-growing company and you have always, I mean, I don't know if you guys been at companies, like small companies, and they bring on 20 people and then the whole thing just goes sideways because there's no infrastructure to consume 20. Scalable. So you have to be scalable for the AI as well. Yes. Think about it like you would onboard another human.
It is onboarding, like giving this person access, they have function in your ERP system.
Yes.
It's like you should have an onboarding form for these AI agents.
Exactly. So if you go that way, couple of things will happen. First of all, the people that have the problem and seeing that you're solving the problem will be happy for the most part. Secondly, you're doing it in a way where you're not upsetting the entire organization. Third, you're doing it in a way where peer pressure works, right? Because now I see Alex is having all the fun and Alex gets to go to happy hour and he gets to go to all these events and I'm stuck here because, and I'm like, wait, not fair. How come Alex gets an AI agent and I don't get an AI agent? So they come to you. What's your name? Rob, what happened? Not fair that Alex has an AI agent, because that's what I've seen happen. Now people are complaining Alex has an AI agent and I don't have one.
So you're specifically talking about AI agents as opposed to AI in totality across the organization.
I mean,
very different.
Yes.
Putting an AI agent in place and just doing a specific function is one thing, but pushing AI throughout an entire organization is a whole different concept and mentality and concept that needs to be embraced and really needs to be empowered.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying AI agent, but basically you can't just deploy one agent in your organization and get any kind of meaningful result. You're probably, depending on the size of your organization, you're deploying anywhere from about 5 to 15 AI agents to have any meaningful results. Like my company, which is a small company, we have about 6 agents that we use all the time. And one of the things that I did is I have some marketing vendors, and I said to them, you have to use our AI agents, and they didn't want to use it. And then I said, I'm going to stop reviewing your stuff if you don't use the AI agents, because I can tell if they use the agent or not, because the agents were configured to use certain terminology, to have certain hashtags, to say things in a particular way. And then I'll be like, no, I'm not sitting here re-editing this. This is what the AI agent is for to do. So, but basically the long and short is it's change management. We had Alex and then Jared, and then Calvin. Okay.
To be honest, you answered multiple of my questions. So
Okay.
You're good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jerry, thank you.
Having spent a lot of my career on the people side with talent management and performance improvement, I really appreciate somebody from a technology side talking about change management. I think that's worth a round of applause. And I'm curious with the organizations that you work with, because you've touched on workforce planning, you've touched on, job descriptions, modifying, changing, and if we're going to take away certain tasks that people aren't comfortable with, then we're going to be filling our time with other duties and other tasks. So I'm curious with the organizations you've worked with from the workforce planning people side, how the organizations that have been most successful working with you and restructuring perhaps how their people spend their day-to-day versus those who have struggled in that adaptation. What guidance would you give the people listening today as to how to be most successful, not only as you implement the technology, but as you modify the work that is being done by the people every day?
So the way that I've seen it be really successful is every process that you're going to change, your impact, you have a champion. So just like, think again, right? If you have a new employee, usually pair the new employee with somebody that kind of knows and gives them the lay of the land. And then maybe a couple of weeks, it's just that person. Then you introduce the new employee to the department staff meeting, and then eventually you introduce the employee to the all staff meeting. So it's kind of like that same approach. In terms of changing jobs, right? So one of the things that I've seen, like I've always been at places where I'm frustrated, where I have an employee and he doesn't do all his work, or she doesn't do all her work, and there's always some excuse why they can't get this thing done. I used to be frustrated, right? Because I'd be like, I know you're just slacking off. But I can't say that, right? I can't say that because then I'm going to get called into HR, and I don't have any data points to prove that this person is slacking off, but I know this person is slacking off. And so when you have the AI agent moving that work out of the way, now what are they going to say? And so that's where you start bringing up, right? And sometimes it's easier to see the people that you probably just need to help find a new home. And sometimes it's they now were just hating their life because they had to do this job and these tasks, and you've moved it off, and now they are empowered and re-engaged and excited again. So like I went to an organization, and this person is manually redacting stuff, right? I say if you have to manually redact stuff, you have to look at the stuff 3-4 times because you're going to miss stuff. So I said, let's build an agent to redact, right? But that wasn't part of the original work order. The work order was to create an editor that can write and edit the thing. And I'm like, well, we can just have the editor also redact your stuff. This is not like that much of a difference. So then the person signing the check was like, well, I don't know. And I was just like, didn't want to, because in their mind, redacting, that's not a big deal, right? The person that's doing the redacting is like, please, can we have this functionality? So I said, look, can you do me a favor, because this is a piece of functionality I want to add to our service offering. So can we test it here? So we give it to the person. Happy, 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 happy. She now comes up with like there was another problem that we were trying to solve in another department that we couldn't figure out. She was like, oh, here, just do this. I was like, what? You had the answer.
See, there's two things that you said there that I would say are important. One of them is really in order to give AI agents or buddies work, it's very important to understand what the skill set of your current employees are. So are you taking away the work that maybe they're the best skilled for, and you're going to try to push them into higher order work, more strategic, more problem solving, and that is or is not what their skill level is? So to me, I feel like the idea of what would complement what you're doing is having the ability to really understand the skill set of the people, and are you replacing or are you enhancing what those people can already do? And the second thing would be exactly what you said. What is their motivation? What do they like to do the most? Maybe that person loved the redacting. It was like a mindless way of you like painting the wall. I don't have to think. I just get in the zone and do it. Where someone else is like, please get me out of this. So those things are important.
So you're touching on will and skill.
Right.
And that is the foundation of why we even started Avatar Buddy, right? So are people not succeeding because of a skill issue or a will issue? And most people like, hey, Alex, man, why can't you do this right? Why can't you do this right? I've trained you like 15 times. Not a skill issue. It's a will issue. Alex has not bought into the reason why I want him to do this, so he's not going to do it. And what we have found, we configure all our AI agents to do will and skill, so it just automatically discerns and navigates you through. And this goes back to, just throwback to when I worked at Burger King in the early 2000s. I had this massive spreadsheet of like will and skill. Like if this person does this in the restaurant, then it could be a will or skill issue. These are the questions to determine if it's a will or skill. If it's a skill issue, this is what you do. If it's a will issue, then you have to go drill in. And so the AI can do that now. And that's really helpful because now you're able to figure out whether or not it's a will or skill issue. And you're seeing, I mean, like most people, not all, but most people go to work and they want to do the best job. And for whatever reason, they get into a rut because they put them in a job that doesn't align with their skill set, or like they happen to have like a boss that's like just horrible, or, something else. But it's not like people get up today and say, let me think about how I'm going to suck today. Nobody gets up saying, let me think about how I'm going to suck today. They get up and they're like, go and what? And I'll say, just for me as well, right? I'm building AI agents. I'm selling AI agents. I'm not using it as much as I can in my company. And I'm like getting sucked dry. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm trying to get people to use this stuff and I'm not doing it. So I built out AI agents just for my company. So I stopped being the shoemaker whose children don't have any shoes. And when I did that, what I found was I could delegate more. Because I'm like, just go ask the AI agent. I'll tell you how well it works. So we hired an intern. This is a freshman in college. And we gave her 2 AI agents, 3 topics, and said, go forth and book me on podcasts. And in about 6 months, I was averaging 5 podcasts a week. I actually did 2 podcasts today before I came here. There's no way without AI I've been able to do that. Why? Because she would have been able to ask me, she would have to come and ask me every time she goes to apply for a podcast, how to write my resume, the AI has my resume, has the talking points, it has information about Avatar Buddy. You give AI, she gives AI the topic, the tone of the podcast, and AI writes the response for her. She submits it. Sometimes we get yes, sometimes we get no. 10 hours a week, supervise her for half an hour. Most of the time we're talking about career path and not about her task. So it is possible to delegate and use AI in that way, right? And so she's happy, she was excited. upscaled herself, got another better internship, good to go. I think there was a question over here, Calvin.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, actually I was going to use, I had a comment based on what Rob said earlier, which is really, I think the challenge, whether it's at an agent level or how we're going to use AI through an organization, is defining what problem you're trying to solve. You know, what process do you want to refine? What do you want to simplify? And that's kind of puts you on the road to what does this look like, and do I need to create an agent, and what is that agent going to do? And your example of the podcast, it's like, well, you needed to figure out how do I get booked, on a regular basis to do these podcasts. Well, that's a clearly defined problem. It's not like, well, how do I go on a book tour? It's like you're very,
Well, yeah, exactly. You have to have clarity on what problem you're trying to solve. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? That's the first thing. Like, I had a customer, and I was excited to get this customer. And I was like, what's the problem? And they refused. They're like, just teach me AI. And I'm like, I can't teach you AI if I don't know what it is you're trying to solve. And they're like, no, just teach me AI. And afterwards, I just stopped. Like, I was like, no, this is not, like, you're going to have me compromise my professional integrity, and I really don't have anything else but my professional integrity to go on. I just kind of like let that account go. Because if you do not know what problem you're trying to solve and you bring AI in, all it's going to do is create chaos. And I'm like, I don't want my company associated with AI bringing chaos to this organization. So problems is the first thing.
Yeah, I'm just going to add that Gartner's hype cycle, and it wasn't Gartner's hype cycle, and it wasn't the recent one, but it was the quarter before. Mm-hmm. Had in their opinion, the AI was kind of in what they call the trough of disillusionment, mm-hmm. because companies are trying to create an AI solution without defining what the problem is, and then of course it fails, and companies are like, oh well, what are we going to do with this crap? Well, and that's.
I mean,
defining the problem is really, really important.
Also, people approached AI as a piece of technology. And it is a piece of technology, but it's so much more than a piece of technology. So if you have some free time, you go back to 2021, 2022, and look at OpenAI's YouTube channel. I'm assuming they're still there. And they talk about who and what you should do in order to create AI agents and so forth, right? They weren't calling them agents back then, but it's like basically the same thing. They were advocating that you go and you hire writers, artists, psychologists, because the engineers couldn't get the AI to work. The engineers can't, because engineers are trained to stay in boxes, right? And that's good. Like, I don't want the engineer building the bridge to be like, let me be creative, right? Like, I want to be able to get across the bridge. So that's a good thing. But what AI needs, especially generative AI, it needs creativity and resourcefulness and thinking out of the box. And who does that? Liberal arts people. So I like jokingly told a friend, finally, that English Lit degree is going to pay off. Art history. Again, because you're exposed to all these things, those people do a better job exploiting AI. And so that was the reason why prompt engineering costs popped up, because most of those people don't want anything to do with the tech bros. So you had to pay them more for them to be like, okay, I'll kind of like go work with the tech. And then the people, the occasional people that had the technical experience and the social science experience that can merge the two together were so far and few between in the tech space that you had to pay them some, like everybody's competing for this person, and that's why that was happening. So actually, people that can make AI work the best for them are artists, are writers, are creative things. In fact, I say that without art, you don't have AI. Just when you go back and think about that, without art, you do not have it. It's a nutrient that drives AI. And so I always try and encourage artists to say, look, you're looking at this the wrong way. You actually are in control. Yes, I know like these guys violated your copyright and all that because you didn't know, you weren't aware, right? But now that you're aware, you can take steps. And they need your stuff. They need you to write more. They need you to produce more because they're running out of data. Because all the valuable data was behind paywalls. And now all those valuable data are now being put in data vaults. So they're not going to have access to them. So they need to buy you to produce. So what if, as yeah, exactly. So I'm like, what if as an artist, group of artists come together and say, look, we'll produce art for you. We'll produce the data that you need, and you pay us, and you just jack the price up, just like how they jack the price up on other stuff. It's like something to think about. Yes, sir. Wait, no, wait. We had Dan up here, then we'll get back to you.
I just had a comment that many years ago, I've been involved in several startups and I've been involved in several large startups. I mean, some startups that were small. In big corporations, I used to say that like the startup I'm in has the problems of an enterprise level company. Mm-hmm. I think this is the issue. Like when I said cost, it's just the time and energy for a small company to dedicate its resources to something that it has to be financially worth it. And that's the issue I've run into. Because I was like, oh, I'm going to have it make reports for me. But like, it just wasn't worth it. That's what I was saying. But now everybody has this problem. Every startup company has a problem with being an enterprise level company. That's what I'm hearing here. Like they all have the same problem now that we had years ago.
Okay, so I was not supposed to. I was not going to sell from the stage. That's why you have companies like Avatar Buddy, because what we will do is we'll come in, we'll understand your problem, like what Calvin says. We'll help you figure out what a good solution is. We'll help you design your AI agents. We will build them for you. We'll maintain them for you. And then we'll tell you, hey, by the way, I just got this AI solution that we don't build, but if you use it, you can have. So for whatever it would be, we're a cost fraction of building out an AI team. Because if you do build out an AI team, minimum is $500,000. You need at least 3 to 5 people, and if you're paying them $150,000, but if you pay somebody $150,000, what are you going to get, right? So it's really not what you're going to pay. But so the thing is, we're a managed AI as a service. We'll manage your AI for you, and then you can carry on with doing what you want. And so the price comes down because we're spreading the cost of the AI across all of our customers, so you don't have to pay all of this. You don't have to pay to build out in the data center. You don't have to pay for the data vault. You don't have to pay for the solution to customize all the AI agents. You don't have to pay for the workers, all of that stuff. So it is expensive but not expensive. I mean, like our customers are finding that our solution is working. It's profitable. They're saying that within 3 to 4 months, they're seeing that it's almost paying for itself. Like one person used our solution and wrote a grant that paid for our solution for 3 years. So there's a lot of ways to do it. So it's not costly depending on how you deploy it, right? So we're not trying to get our customers to run up their tokens because that's not good for our business model. We're saying use it when it makes sense, and when it doesn't make sense, don't use it. And you're not going to have just one AI agent that's going to run. You're going to have to go to I have my AI, and I use them 90% of the time but my AI has not been optimized to create PowerPoints. So when I want a PowerPoint, what I do is I have my AI write the PowerPoint outline and I give it to Notebook LM. Notebook LM builds it, and then I go in and I hide that little watermark because I don't want that all over my stuff. Or sometimes I don't care and I just send it out, right? So there's ways to do that to keep the cost down. So there was a young man over back there, yes.
So I'm an engineering student specializing in AI, and I was kind of interested by your perspective about AI agents, because like I've interned in a few companies, and in those companies what I've experienced so far is that I cannot even call something an agent if it does not take multiple steps of autonomous action. And like if I build something and I show it to my manager saying, hey, I built an AI agent, he will just tell me like, if it cannot take multiple steps of action by itself, then it is just ChatGPT with extra steps. So how do, like with you like building AI agents for a lot of different customers and companies, could you give me an example of something that can like not just analyze and generate things, but also take multiple steps of actions by itself?
Our solution doesn't do that. We're intentionally not doing that because I don't believe that AI has matured to that level. I've been watching AI. So back in 21, AI was like a really, really smart 7-year-old. Like you didn't know whether it was going to perform or not. Like we have 7-year-olds, you got their performance and you're like, okay, are they going to go on the stage? Are they going to say their lines? And then it got a little bit more stable to 9-year-olds. It's like at a 15-year-old. So I tell people, if you're okay with giving your 15-year-old unsupervised access to your bank account and your most important customer, then yeah, like do all the agentic stuff and all that. And like nobody's going to do that. You're not going to give a 15-year-old unsupervised access to your bank account or your most important customer. So I think that, and I listen to, I'm in like a lot of these groups, and I hear people like, yeah, like I want to do this and I want to do that, and I'm like, but like, to what end? To what end are you trying to do? Like they're just building stuff because they can, but then how are you using it? I'm old school. I've been around for 30 odd years in the tech space. I use technology to solve real problems. I'm not trying to make up problems. I'm saying what real problems. And I said, people, so that's one piece of it. Then the next piece of my equation, I'm a social scientist. I have a master's in economic development and Latin American studies. I believe that if people do not have purpose, we will have anarchy. So I am not going to be on the bandwagon creating anything that will get us closer to people not having purpose, because I'd like to still walk down the street and not have to worry about being jumped. So when you put those two things together, you have AI, my AI agents require human in the loop, and it does not go off and do anything by itself. And even when we are we're building out a solution that kind of does a little bit, but it's all running in the back end. And then somebody still needs to say, show me the end result. And the back end is walled off and contained. Nobody is in the back there doing stuff. So it's just like, it's philosophy, right? It's a philosophy. I think we're at the crossroads. And some people are trying to drive us down this path of like, let's eliminate humans, let's optimize till we don't need humans anymore. And then people are going, no, that makes no sense. You need to have humans in the loop, interact, and so forth. I will tell you, the people that are saying that, and I listened to a 23-year-old talk about how you can optimize and not need any employees. And I said, this is the problem with a 23-year-old. They have no life experience. Because if you ever try to do anything, you realize that you cannot automate everything away. Even that guy that a few months ago, this guy that came out that said he had a $1 billion company and it was just him and his brother. It's not true. It's not true. He said I had no employees. What he did was he played with the word employees. He did not have any employees. I don't have any employees either. I have 1099s. I don't have any employees. But I have people that I need to help me. He needed, when you looked at it, when you just peel back just one layer, there were like a whole bunch of people that were working for him. They just were not on his payroll. So technically, he had no employees, but he had employees. So you have to be careful about how people are spinning these things. There's a lot of marketing, smoke and mirrors. And so, I mean, that's my thing. I can't comment more about your company, and maybe what they're building, it needs to do what you're talking about. I don't know.
I have a follow-up question to that. So what is your opinion about having locally hosted LLMs instead of using a third-party service like ChatGPT or Claude?
I mean, I would love to have that. Like, when I first started this 10 years ago, that was my framework. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if you just have like this little thing running on your smartphone and it's detached from the internet and it's just all secure and contained? But then when we realized how big it is, this is my future. We're supposed to do future. Okay, so I think that we're going to get there because when you think about why you need all the lots and lots and lots of data and space is to train the algorithm. Once you get the algorithm, you can throw away the data. You don't need the data anymore. So the algorithm doesn't have as much footprint. The footprint is in the data. So my thing is, and this is something that I really want to work on, my thing is that if you could just get the algorithm and hook some biometrics into the algorithm and figure out how to run this all locally on devices that your body wouldn't expel, you can create a personality chip that allows you to optimize yourself. Because I think that the machine that we should be optimizing is our bodies, not a humanoid. Nobody's going to walk around with a 150-pound machine. Like, that is just not realistic. Even an 80-pound machine. That is so if you could create a personality chip and it can hook into your biometrics so you can know when you're out of equilibrium and wake up and say, hey, are you good? And then if you're not good, now that little small localized LLM, or data vault as I call it, has information in there how to help you reset so you go back to equilibrium. And it's all walled off so nobody can hack into your chip. And it doesn't need the internet for anything. So now this can be deployed globally in the jungles of Belize, in the deserts of South Africa.
You need that for teenagers.
There you go. So that is my future, that this is what we should have. Optimize, because when you're at your equilibrium, that's when you work the best. And most of the time we're out of equilibrium, and that's why we have bad days and we don't make the right decisions. All
To a
that.
certain extent, that already exists. You got type 1 diabetics with closed loop systems that are managing their blood sugars and their food intake and everything, and it's kind of already happens. I appreciate that, but I don't think that's the real future of where we need to be with this.
I know the diabetic thing. Yes, I totally agree, but there's nothing. I have not found anything that can print your personality, a small database onto a chip. Chip is big enough, and a chip then has to be able to be worked in a way that your body doesn't expel it, right? And then now the next thing is, you don't want a deep implant, right? You want something that implants where the way the diabetic. So there's a lot more to be thinking. Maybe at the end of summer, I will be surprised and say that the technology is farther along than I think, because
Ocular implants. There's a number of things that's already kind of being pushed out that way. Where AI is going, I think, is much more beyond that.
Ultimately, I think that you get to an AI that can optimize you. That's the personality chip is the AI that optimizes you. And if you get an AI that can optimize you, then what happens?
The thought partner. This person that can challenge your thoughts.
person that can help you be better.
That's where I was going with this. I mean, look, as a CFO, I'm about ROI. What's the return on investment? The agent perspective is a specific solution that addresses one concern. It's a high cost for that one return. But if you think about it from a much larger perspective, and how do you change the thought process of an organization that people utilize it on a regular basis and can engage it as a thought partner, you get a much higher return on your investment, and you're going to get a much higher productivity. That, I think, is where we as business operators and organizations need to drive, because it's increasing productivity with a low cost of investment. That's the best value that we have in front of us.
Yeah, you're totally right. I'm totally agreeing with you, and I hope that that you're leaving today having at least one way of deploying that into your organization, because we're seeing that it does work. We're seeing impact. We're seeing that people are increasing their productivity. We're not having to hire more people. You're getting more things done. So.
Can I share something very quickly? Yeah, we'll take one more.
It's 2 points. One about the technology, and second about the humans. I have been crossing technology for more than 30 years. I will not tell you my age, but it's been a while. I started my career typing machines. Maybe someone will relate to that. And we crossed some barriers after that. Typing machines, electric typing machines, big green display from IBM, and much more since then. And always when we have a disruptive technology, everybody gets crazy. How's it going to be? We're going to die. We're going to leave. We're going to lose our jobs. We're going to be paid less. So we have this kind of thoughts and challenges in our careers. I have passed through a lot of things like this. I came from technology. I have worked for Xerox, Cisco Systems, Oracle, Ingram Micro, and other companies. So everything I can share about technology is it's not debatable. Technology will come, and will disrupt the process. It's just a case, or it's just a matter of time. Most probably in 5 years, any computer we're gonna buy, any mobile device we're gonna buy, it's gonna be embedded agents. You're gonna buy 1 terabyte, you're gonna have between 5 to 12 agents. If you're gonna buy 2 terabytes, you're gonna have 20 agents. It's not debatable. It's gonna happen. It's just a matter of time. And the second point that crossed this mentality is human beings. Technology and computers, cloud computing, whatever we're going to discuss, AI at this point, and we're going to have much more coming up. It's not to eliminate human resources. It's to transform, yes, to flip it over careers and capabilities of human. Because if we start laying off humans, how's going to be the microeconomy? Seeing in a perspective of a CEO or economically wisely. So if we start laying off people because we have AIs, we're going to close up our companies soon because we don't have clients. Because our clients were laid off because AI took their place. So it's a interesting debate, but in my mentality nowadays, I'm a business owner right now. I have a small company. And I decided, because this is a leadership decision, because if the leaders of the company decided to go into AI, but keep doing their forecast in Excel spreadsheet, doesn't make any sense. So I decided in my small company, for me it's much easier. I was talking with Alex right now at the beginning of the event, and he showed me how easy it is to have an agent. But I pretty much prefer to have internships like Rebecca. She's here with us. She's an internship of a university. Instead of having an AI, I prefer pretty much to give a chance for internship to start leveraging their careers. And I'm not a big company. For sure, AI could make a difference for now for me, but I prefer to invest in a human being. For sure, if I was a big company, very complex process, for sure, AI will give more efficiency in terms of some process, but I do prefer to invest in humans because whatever it happens, what kind of technology we go through, we need to survive. So my point is being flexible should be something that's going to be very feasible. But I do believe in AI and also in other technologies. Other than that, I would never have the chance to have the employees, the career I have developed. So congrats and thank you so much for bringing this.
Thank you. So I just want to leave you with, just to add on what Mauricio said and to leave you with one point. So I was in Cape Town the beginning of May at an AI conference, and we were talking about AI. And what they were doing with AI was completely different from what we're talking about doing AI. They were talking about how to amplify their people. They were trying to figure out how to meet people where they're at. They were deploying AI solutions inside of WhatsApp because that's the means of communication. Because maybe people have a phone and they have WhatsApp on their phone, and there's so many free Wi-Fi as you walk around Cape Town. So even if you can't afford data, you still have Wi-Fi. And it was just so refreshing to see how they were not trying to squeeze every last cent out of AI, like what we are doing over here. And I was like, this is a completely different way of thinking about it. I do believe that you need to invest, like what Mauricio said, in young people, because if the people you have today, when they get old and they die, who's going to be the new workers? So you have to invest. And we have had, as part of our business model, that we started out because we had no other choice. Then it turned into our secret sauce. And now we're intentional about it. We have interns. So interns we taught interns how to write user stories, and they wrote all the requirements for Avatar Buddy. Then interns tested Avatar Buddy. Interns provided feedback. When OpenAI went to market in November, we went to market in January. Didn't know that OpenAI was going to market. This missteps that OpenAI made, we didn't make because our interns had told us not to do that. And we listened. And we continue to invest in interns. And so we're always, even though we're a small company, we're always ahead of the curve because our interns are giving us perspective that we can't, because we're already tainted. We're already tainted. So I would hope that from this conversation, you found ways to implement AI or consider implementing AI, realizing that AI starts with people and ends with people. If you don't have proper change management, and then you won't have proper engagement, and your AI investment will go sideways. But if you have proper change management, you have great buy-in, then you won't have to ask. You won't have to try and figure out what your ROI is. They will come and tell you what your ROI is. So that's my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for participating, for the phenomenal discussions, for the differing opinions, and bringing it all together in one room, right? That's what this is for. AI is a transformative initiative, one that branches everything from the arts to theory of constraints as the origin of any implementation of a technology or whatever bottleneck identification process you're using. And these are the discussions that we love to have. You don't have to stay in this room, but you also don't have to go home quite yet, because while we're all sitting here, we refreshed the drinks and the food, so please take the questions that are still burning within you, jump out there, and continue the discussion. We'll be circulating. Before I let you guys go, though, I never waste a captive audience. I do have two shameless plugs. The first shameless plug is our entity, the SilverLogic, which has been around and developing custom software solutions right here in Boca for the last 13 years, made a decision based on the hype that exists around AI and, to many extents, the lack of systematic business-level adoption,
that we see necessary when you're building custom software. So we spun out an entity called Bridget AI. As part of that, we've developed an AI readiness assessment, and I would love you guys to participate in it. Behind the scenes, we're consolidating it, and we hope to publish mid-market AI adoption findings at the end of this year, and we would love for you guys to be part of our research effort. So please and thank you. And second, we also want to continue expanding the amazing platform that AI Uncorked has become. And so on the tables out there, and if you don't find one, please let me know. You guys will see these inconspicuous postcards, and on the back, we are officially announcing the Horizon AI Conference next year, March 19th, which we are going to be putting on right here in Boca Raton in partnership with FAU and Palm Beach State College, just a couple minutes away down the street. And we'd love for all of you guys to follow along our journey as we build this event. We hear from you guys, what topics do you want to hear? You're definitely going to hear how AI needs to be adopted through business process automation, because that's my shtick. So you guys will hear that. But any additional topics that you want to hear, we want this to be a community-built event that we put on next year. So again, and to sign off, thank you guys so much for being a part of AI Uncorked. I hope to see you back here the third Wednesday of next month for our next speaker. And go out, enjoy some wine, cheese, and additional conversation.
I just one last thing. I forgot to say, if I'm happy to do a half-an-hour consult with anybody that has any other questions that are specific that I couldn't answer today. So, Stephanie at Avatar Buddy.
Thank you guys.
That was good.